welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. I am Jim Hacking, your host, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. I got dressed up. I even shaved. I hope you all are doing well. Nora and I are headed to Branson, Missouri tomorrow for her softball tournament. She'll be there all week for her softball tournament. I will be there as well. And the show will be sort of at strange times this week. So if you haven't already, you definitely want to go ahead and subscribe to our text service. If you send a text, if you text the word show to 314-470-3300, you'll get alerted whenever we do pop-up episodes like this one, or if we change our schedule. There will be no show tomorrow on Monday, the 27th. We'll be traveling and then sort of settling in, and then the tournament actually starts on Tuesday. So she's just off the disabled list. She had a cast on her thumb for the last 3 weeks, so she's excited to get back to playing. She and I were just in the front yard playing catch. If you haven't already, let us know where you're watching from. It's good to see a lot of our usual friends. Alex is here. Rocio's here from Columbus, Sheldon in Colorado Springs. We always sends good wishes to Nor and to me from Fort Myers, Florida. Oh yeah, I need to post the link. Let me do that right now. I will post the link so that people can come into the waiting room. Let me do that. Here's the link. I'm used to having my trusty sidekick, Ms. Julia, helping me with the chat. I haven't really been monitoring the chat much. So it's good to be with all of you. What's new in your world? I guess all of us have been rocked by the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade after 50 years. We have a bunch of liars on the U.S. Supreme Court. Liars like Amy Coney Barrett. Liars like Neil Gorsuch, liars like John Roberts, liars like Brett Kavanaugh. They all said that Roe v. Wade was standing precedent, and they made it seem as if they were never going to attack it, but their opinion made clear that that was their plan all along. Very troubling opinion if you care about women in the United States. Very troubling opinion if you care about civil liberties in the United States. Very troubling opinion if you think that it's okay for a bunch of justices, 5 of whom were appointed by presidents who lost the popular vote, who want to take us back to the dark ages, are making decisions for the rest of the country that are way out of line with where most Americans are on the issue of abortion. I know you didn't tune in to hear me talk about abortion today, but I have to tell you, I've been spending a lot of time on Twitter, a lot of time thinking about this horrible decision from the Supreme Court. I think that this country really started going downhill when the Republicans stole the presidency from Al Gore in 2000. And a lot of the people involved in stealing that election for George Bush now sit on our Supreme Court. So they are not the way the court used to be, which was sort of outside of politics. They are brute force politicians who are determined to impose the will of the dwindling power of white men into all aspects of life. They want to turn us back to the 1950s. They want women to be subjugated. And it's a truly dark day that I never thought was going to come to our country, but here we are. So this isn't the abortion answer show. This is the immigration answer show. I certainly don't know much about the intricacies of abortion law, but it's going to be really problematic here in the years to come, because if you live in a state like I do, where they are always trying to be meaner than the other politicians. That's how you get elected in Missouri, is to be meaner to poor people, meaner to gay people, meaner to Muslims, meaner to transgender kids, meaner to everyone who isn't a white male. That's how you get elected in many states. So it's going to be a dark day, dark times, and I truly hope that the American people wake up and pay attention to these politicians, including politicians who wear black robes, who are determined to try to maintain the patriarchy, maintain white power in the United States. And it's really sort of all there for you if you're paying attention. Thanks everybody for chiming in. If you haven't, let me know where you're watching from. We'd appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and start taking some questions. Remember, I need to see your face in the waiting room so that I know that you're actually there, and then I can go ahead and pull you up on camera. You don't have to necessarily be on camera when we're talking, although it makes for better television. And of course, if you're driving, we can't pull you up on camera. Let's say hi to Mehdi.
Hello,
Hi, Mehdi.
Jim. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, with the current circumstances that happened with the Supreme Court, and whatever, and this and they when they overturned Roe v. Wade, it's really a dark day for America. And I've heard that one of the court justices said that he would consider like overturning gay marriage in same-sex couple. I wonder what your thoughts about that, since let's say hypothetically speaking, if they overturned like same-sex marriage and same-sex relationship, how would that affect if someone who are applying like fiance visa or marriage visa based on same-sex as a same-sex couple? What are your thoughts on that?
Mehdi, thanks so much for the call and the question. And I have lots to say about this. Okay, so up until like 2018, I think it was, maybe it was a little early, maybe it was 2016 when Obergefell. So Congress had passed something called the Defense of Marriage Act. The Defense of Marriage Act said that marriage is only between a man and a woman, and it prohibited gay marriage. And that law, and I think it prohibited it specifically with the military. I don't remember exactly, but it might have been just that the federal government wasn't going to recognize gay marriage for purposes of all kinds of benefits, immigration included. I remember a very nice same-sex couple came to see me, and the U.S. citizen was from Missouri and the foreign national was from Singapore. They came to see me about 2 months before Obergefell got handed down, and I told them that I couldn't file for them because of the Defense of Marriage Act. Well, the Supreme Court struck that down, and that's what opened the door to same-sex marriages proceeding for purposes of immigration. We filed one of the very first, and I'm very proud of this, we filed one of the very first same-sex immigration applications in our state, and we got that case approved relatively quickly.
Yeah,
you're right. And I made a TikTok about this yesterday, that Justice Thomas, who's a real asshole and who's been there the longest and who's very conservative and who's nuts. His wife is a MAGA Trump-loving nut who the two of them should be investigated fully. But in any event, he wrote a concurring opinion that said, so here's how you have to understand it. So there is not a specific right to privacy in the United States. There's not, and some countries do have a specific right to privacy in a constitutional amendment. We do not. So back in the 70s, maybe the late 60s, in a case called Griswold v. Connecticut versus Connecticut, where the state of Connecticut prohibited contraception, and because they wanted, again, women to be pregnant. And they said that there was they used what's called a penumbra of rights, that if you look at all the rights and the 14th Amendment, that there's a collection of rights, including the right to life and liberty, that they sort of fashioned this right to privacy.
Yeah.
And that was in Griswold v. Connecticut. That's what they used in Roe v. Wade to say that a woman has a right to privacy and to be able to have an abortion. So
exactly, yeah.
I've always thought that the decision was a little bit convoluted. It's not clean. It was never clean. Roe v. Wade was never
biased.
A clean decision. It just wasn't. To me, it wasn't the most legally sound argument. Like, I've always thought the First Amendment should trump the right to abortion. But so what they said on Friday is that the abortion should be subjected, it's not a protected activity, so therefore it goes to a lower level of scrutiny. So if states want to regulate it, they can, and they specifically overruled Roe v. Wade, even though they all promised that that was the law of the land. So Thomas throws in this concurrence and says we need to revisit same-sex marriage, the act of same-sex sexual activity and contraception, because those are all also based on that same finding in Griswold v. Connecticut.
As he said, demonstrably erroneous or something like that. He said it's
right, and this clearly
could be, yeah.
So now you have to ask yourself what's going to happen with gay marriage. So I suspect, so let me walk through the timeline of what I think is going to happen. Again, some of these very red states, these Republican states, are going to be like rushing to pass the most anti same-sex legislation that they can. So some state will do this. It could be Missouri, where I live. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they passed a law that said marriage is only between a man and a woman. Yeah. And that for all reasons, so that same-sex couples can't get married in Missouri. And that's how it was. We were one of the last states. It was only when the Supreme Court struck down that case that circuit clerks started giving out marriage licenses in Missouri. So before then, and there will be legislators who want to turn back the clock, and they will introduce legislation. And I have to think that it'll pass in one state. That'll probably take somewhere between 3 and 6 months. At the end of those 3 or 6 months, the law will become the law. The ACLU will file a lawsuit to challenge that law. The federal courts will strike down the law, and it'll get struck down at the district court level. It'll get struck down at the circuit level. And then the Supreme Court can say, hey, we want to review this case. We want to review this case, and we want to determine whether or not there is a right to privacy for same-sex couples or same-sex. Like, and in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, they'll probably start with the criminal act because they like to criminalize things. So they'll make the act of same-sex activities illegal. They'll do both. Probably.
Yeah, that's which that's the most scariest thing that will happen if that ever enacted as a law.
Well, I think pay attention, because I think it will happen. Now, that'll go to the Supreme Court, and then 4 justices have to decide to hear the case, and 5 have to decide that the law as written is unconstitutional or constitutional. Now, what I've seen so far, Neil Gorsuch and John Roberts, while happy to dismantle Roe, or at least to attack the right to privacy, they have telegraphed that they would be less willing to tinker with same-sex marriages. But I don't know if they can get away with that given the ruling that just came down on Friday.
Yeah.
So this might be a march towards something. So that's one thing that's a time frame that I think in a year or so, the Supreme Court will be deciding more abortion cases, and they'll be deciding some state laws on same-sex marriage. Then the other thing you have to think about is, could Congress do something? Will Congress do something? And what happens with a change in president, right? So
exactly,
the president, now Congress could try to pass a law that says we're not going to recognize same-sex marriage. They could reinstitute the Defense of Marriage Act, and they could prohibit federal agencies from recognizing same-sex marriage. Now, I think that with a Democrat like Joe Biden in the White House, that's going to be vetoed all day long. So I think agencies like when it comes to immigration.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about as an immigration standpoint, since someone who's trying to sponsor his partner from outside. That's one point that I want to know about as a detail.
I think that we're going to be okay. Now, I think we're going to be okay, but Jim's not always right. And I think that if I were in any kind of a same-sex relationship, I would be nailing down my rights left and right now. Like,
exactly.
If I were in a same-sex relationship and I was thinking about getting married, I'd get married yesterday, and I would file for the benefit now. Um, but I think, that being said, I think we're going to be okay at least until the end of Biden's term, because I think he could veto anything that happens between now and then. Anything Congress did, he could veto. Now, they could, in theory, get a veto-proof majority, like 67 senators, but I don't think 67 senators will will sign off on that. So I think we're going to be okay all the way through the presidency. And of course, all this shows why we need to, fight at election time. Like the Republicans are planning on taking back control of the House and maybe the Senate in November. Now, I think Friday's decision will energize Democratic voters and people who are scared, mostly women who are scared of where these guys are headed. I think that'll energize them, but we can't lose our focus between now and November.
Oh no, people have to march and vote for their rights. That's one thing they have to do.
I mean, I think it's going to be the most, these next 6 years are going to be the most important elections of my lifetime. I also think, we can lay this all at the feet of Donald Trump. Donald Trump appointed these 3 justices. I mean, all the justices that voted for this were appointed by Republicans. Clarence Thomas was appointed by George H.W. Bush. Roberts and who's the other one? Oh, Alito were appointed by George W. Bush, and then these 3 were appointed by Trump.
Yeah.
So again, elections have consequences. This is all the result of the election of Trump winning that election in 2016. And the Republicans and the pro-life crowd took a 50-year approach to undoing.
It was long overdue.
They kicked our ass. They kicked the Democrats' ass, and the Democrats thought this would never happen.
It was long overdue. When Trump was in office, it was long overdue that this thing would happen at what time. Yeah.
Right. So generally, when it comes to same-sex stuff, I think we're okay as long as a Democrat's in the White House. But if a Republican, what I'm worried about is Donald Trump was so stupid, and he always said everything out loud, right? What I'm worried about are these evil motherfuckers like Ron DeSantis who believe all these same things, but don't say that bad stuff out loud. Like they don't tell you what they're up to. They don't tell you their truly evil motives, but they have the same designs and the same plans that they're going to be the like
same infrastructure,
Trump light, but just not as dumb. So with always get going. Like get going to the polls, get going to donating to candidates, get going to protests, get going on your immigration case.
Every vote now will actually count to the future of the next generation. Every vote will count.
Well, my daughter's 12 years old. My daughter is 12 years old, and if something bad ever happened to her and she had to carry the baby, I mean, I have people very close to me who are the victims of sexual assault, and to think that they would have to carry the child of their rapist because men said so, to me is just outrageous.
Yeah, it is a complete BS and outrageous to ever like think about that as denying the rights of the woman to do wherever they want for their body, because at the end it's their body. It's not men who should be controlled. It's them. Which is
and this is a country that was founded on separation of church and state. The people running the religious right now have forgotten all that, and the courts have diluted the separation between church and state. But it's against our history. Mehdi, I'm going to let you go, but I probably got to change the subject. Otherwise, I'll be bitching about this all day.
Thanks for answering the question. You're welcome.
See you, buddy.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye. All right. Got a little fired up there. Let's say hi to Mira. Hi, Mira.
Hi, Jim.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Okay, so my question is, for me as a J visa student, exchange visitor, what are the routes that I can take to become a permanent resident? And the 2-year home residency requirement does apply on me.
So that sucks. That's really hard when it applies to you. So It's very, very hard to get out of, especially if the federal government or a Fulbright scholarship or somebody paid for your education, because they usually either want to get paid back, and even then sometimes they still fight. So what's your plan to get out of the J1 waiver requirement?
What I was planning for is that I'm now pursuing my master's degree. I wanted to continue on a PhD program, maybe on an F visa,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm talking to someone um, seeking. He wants a commitment, a committed relationship, and he's a citizen. And that wasn't following my plan, but now I'm trying to see if that would benefit me or would it harm me, trying to convert my visa into an F visa.
So I think it'd be very difficult for you to change from a J to an F inside the United States. I think most likely you'd have to go back home and then apply for the F. So that part's going to be hard. You can go from a J to an F without converting or without fulfilling the 212E 2-year requirement, but that to change, it's almost impossible to change status in the United States now. It takes a year and a half, and you're left in limbo, and you don't know whether or not that application is going to be approved. So you end up either overstaying or you end up stressed out because you don't get an answer. So if you filed, like, I don't know when your J1 program's over, but let's say it's over in October. If you applied in September, to change your status from a J to an F, you're not going to find out for a year. So,
Okay.
so I think that you're going to have to go back home and do this through the embassy. Then, of course, if they get a whiff that you have someone in the United States that you want to get married, then they're not going to let you come on the F because they think you're just coming back to get married.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, here's the other thing. Even if you do marry a U.S. citizen, you still have to satisfy that requirement of 212E. Marrying a U.S. citizen does not eliminate that requirement. Did you know that?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I just heard that when they're going to study my F visa application, when they know that I'm engaged, for example, to a U.S. citizen, that's going to make them suspect that I'm pursuing immigration, whereas I'm applying for just an F visa, which was my original plan to pursue the PhD and then like spend the 2 years separated maybe a month or two each year during the PhD until I finished that. And then I was going to apply for a residency through research, which is my second question, because I don't know much about the details as an academia person. How can I? Is there a
Well,
route from there?
I think you're sort of far out on the edges of what's actually going to work. I think that's. I mean, you're talking about getting an employer to sponsor you for a visa
Um,
to do
I know
research.
that I can't be sponsored until I finish my 2 year, right?
Right,
Yeah, I was
right.
thinking that there is a route through research after some publications, maybe, but I don't have the exact information that I need to plan my whole thing.
Right. So that there you're talking about an employment-based green card again after your 2 years are satisfied. I mean, if you're getting married to a U.S. citizen, that's going to be 10 times easier than going the employment route. But if you're talking about self-petitioning, like you're going to be doing so much research and so much work that you don't need an employer to sponsor you, that's really, really going to be really, really hard to pull off, especially right after you get your PhD. That's usually for people who've been in industry for a while, who have tons of publications, who have tons of conference talks. I'm generally really conservative on that, so I'm probably going to be more uh, like down on that to think that it's going to work. I think you have a lot of um, good qualities and a lot of good qualifications, but I think the idea that you're going to be able to do it without an employer is probably a long shot.
Okay. So it's easier to get it through marriage, but until I satisfy the 2 years, that won't be possible, right?
Well, now there is one other you can ask for the country to. Do you know if people from your country have been able to get the no objection letter from the State Department or from the home country?
They it's really hard to get it from my home country because they want us to come back, and
Yeah,
actually in a Fulbright scholarship, so it's even
yeah,
harder.
that's impossible. Yeah, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
We've never been able to get a 212E waiver for a Fulbright scholar.
Hmm. Okay, so if I get an F visa and do not mention or even postpone marriage until I start my PhD program, will then can I at that time can I file for a waiver on a basis of severe hardship for a U.S. citizen? Because I've read that mere separation of the family is not considered.
Yeah, you would need something with your spouse that's sort of beyond regular hardship. Like they understand it'd be hard for Mira to be back home and for the spouse to be in the United States. They get that. It has to be something like the spouse can't live without her. The spouse is on life support or some kind of medical treatment, or the spouse. I mean, it has to be something pretty severe.
Hmm, I see. Okay, so if I go back to my home country on separate years, and then I apply for a residency through marriage, what is the process after I finish my F visa period in order to become a resident through marriage?
Yeah. So the timing wise, we got to think it all through. But basically, you have different moving parts. Like number one is it's going to take USCIS a year to approve the I-130. So after if you come back on your F1 and if you get close to the end of your studies, when you have like a year left, you could file that I-130. But then you have 2 years that you have to do back home. So you might even wait. So the J1 and that 212E requirement to go back home. That's going to determine the timeline more than anything. The other part's easy.
Okay, so if I do finish the 2 years during the PhD, so I'm now free to apply for the I 130
I mean,
immediately
you're
after.
talking like so walk me through how you could satisfy the 2 year residency requirement while on an F1 doing your PhD. I don't see how that works.
Um, so PhD takes about 5 years if I'm going back home for a year in the winter break, and for sorry, a month in the winter break and 2 months maybe in the summer. I will be left with times 5 years. I will be left with maybe 3 or 4 months of the 2 years, which I can do during the thesis write up at the end,
Yeah,
maybe online from there, so that when I'm done with the PhD, I'm done with the 2 years. That's
yeah.
what I was hoping for.
Okay. All
Will
right. Well,
that
good luck, Mira. Yep.
Okay, my last question. You mentioned that it's hard to adjust my status when I'm already in the US.
Yeah.
I was wondering, can I stay with um, correct paperwork? For example, I know that I can stay with a valid DS 2019 even if my visa is expired. Can
That's
that
right.
happen when I'm on the new sponsor after I finish my J visa? On that with the new sponsor with the I-20, if it's valid, can I stay without going and put my new F visa on the passport?
But that's what I'm trying to tell you is that it's going to be very, very difficult because let's walk it through. When does your DS 2019? When does your status in J1 end? When does it end?
Mid December.
Okay, so mid December. So let's say November 15th, you file for the I-539 for the change of status. You have a school that wants to issue you a new I-20 that issues you a new I-20, and you ask to change your status from J1 to F1. They're going to sit on that case for at least a year. So
Okay.
what are you doing? What are you doing during that year? You can't go to school. You can't work. Um, you'd probably be better off going back home and doing your 2 year part of your 2 year time. But what were you thinking you would do in that time where you don't have a decision?
I was thinking of OPT.
Well, you can't do OPT if you've filed to change your status.
Okay, so I can benefit from the OPT, but after that I can file for change of status.
But then you just push it forward a year. What happens for that year while you're waiting for them to decide? And then what happens if they deny the change of status from F1 to J1? I understand not wanting to go back home, but
Okay.
you wouldn't believe the number of people who come to see me all screwed up because they filed this I-539. They thought it was going to be really easy, and then they find themselves without any real status.
Oh, I see. And to whom do I submit that adjustment of status? Is it to my sponsor or is it to the USCIS?
So just so you know, that's called change of status. Adjustment of status only means for green card. So it's changing your status, and you would file that with USCIS.
Okay, and my sponsor has nothing to do with that?
I mean, you need an I-20, but your I-20 is going to expire because your I-20 is going to have a start date, and it's going to say Mira wants to start her F1 studies in January. Well, they're not going to approve it till the following January. So then you're going to have to do another I-20, and then it might get denied. It gets denied a lot. So I don't think this is a good plan for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck, Mira. All right. That was Mira. Let's say hi to Kahlo. Hi, Kahlo.
Hey, how are you, boss?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you for asking. So, I think last week I was with you, but I have another question.
Okay. I remember from Brazil, right?
Yes, I'm here with my wife, and my question now is: she got her asylum approved, 2020, and I have heard when you have asylum approved, when you apply for the green card, when you get the green card, you're gonna get 1 year back date. Is that
Right.
true or false?
That's true.
Oh yeah. Então, for sure, she just has to wait 4 years for apply for her citizen.
Well, no, because we don't know how long her green card's going to take. But let's has she filed for her green card yet?
Yes, she already. Actually, it was 2021 on June.
June. Okay, so she may or may not get an interview on that. So let's say it gets approved on January 1st. January 1st, 2023. The start date on her green card will be January 1st, 2022. And then she can apply 5 years from then, which is 4 years back, 4 years ahead. She can apply for her citizenship. Yep.
Yeah, I remember you told me maybe she can get her green card this year in December. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, she might get it tomorrow if they waive the interview. But did she get asylum from the immigration court or from the asylum office?
I think for an asylum officer.
Okay, so that's better. Those
court. No, my bad. Immigration court.
Okay, so those usually take a little bit longer because the file is thicker and part of the file is at the immigration court. So I think she'll probably get her green card. Yeah, probably around the end of the year.
And so, just one more question to make sure that I understood. If they don't put the back date on her green card, what she can do?
Oh, they will. They don't screw that up. Nah. I mean, she could file for a replacement green card. The point is, even if the green card is wrong, the actual start date of when she can apply for citizenship would be 1 year back. So you could file for a new green card.
And could be 3 years and 9 months.
No, 4 years and 9 months from the start date.
No, because it's gonna be 1 year back in date, right? It's gonna be 4 years.
4 years and 9 months.
I know, but she'll be
3 years and 9 months from the start. I don't know. You're screwing me up. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just confused you. Yeah.
It's always just know this. It's always 4 years and 9 months from the start date. So whatever the start date is, add 4 years and 9 months.
It's supposed to be 5 years, right?
From the date on the green card.
Okay, no, I got it. And so I think I'm not gonna be waiting for her get her citizenship. I think I'm gonna use the waiver, and in my case, that could work, like you told me, right?
That's what we talked about last time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we're gonna be waiting. As soon as she gets her green card, I'm gonna call you.
Okay, thanks, Kaio. See you, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good one.
See you, man. All right. That was Kaio calling us back. Sean's up next. Hi, Sean.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Sure.
So I got my green card in November 2021, the 2-year conditional green card. And Unfortunately, my marriage is not doing too well, and so we're going to separate, and um, we're still very civil. We don't hate each other or anything. We're very civil, and we're friends. But I was wondering if we file instead of a regular divorce. I live in California. Can we file for summary of dissolution? Will that affect my case or um,
I don't know what that
yeah?
is. Is that an actual divorce?
Um, it's yes. It's not an annulment. I made sure it's not that. Um,
You
and
said
then
it's called a summary of dissolution. Is that what you said?
yes.
I don't know. If it's a valid divorce decree in the state of California, then that's okay. I mean, walk me through your timeline again. When did you meet the person that you were married to?
May 5th, 2018 was the first date,
And when did you get married?
and November 24th, 2020.
Okay. And when you met in 2018, were you in the United States or outside the United States?
I was in the United States.
Were you on an F1 visa or what were you on?
Yes, I was in. I met her in college. I was an F1 visa. I spent about 8 years in America, US, until now. I came with my dad to America on like an L2 dependent of an L1 visa, and then I
Yeah.
changed status to an
Yeah.
F1, and then I went to university, and then I met my current wife, and then yeah.
So you get married in November of 20, and then you file for the green card. When was your interview and when did the green card get approved?
The I don't exactly remember when the interview was, but I know I got the green card. It says the date was November 24th
Of
on it.
2021?
2021. Yes, that's correct.
And when did you start having problems? Like when did you stop living together, or do you still live together?
We still live together, but we're gonna like end of this month. We're gonna like move out and like go to different places.
Okay. And so you don't so as far as length of marriage after the green card was received is how long?
6 months.
Yeah, so I mean I think that poses problems for us. How much evidence do you have of the ongoing marriage for even just say these last 6 months? Do you have lots of evidence?
I have quite a bit of evidence. Like we've taken vacation trips to her family. We've taken 2 vacation trips to my
But
family.
how about like financial records, insurance, and all that? That nobody cares about pictures that much. Pictures are low level evidence. What about like
Yeah.
joining your bank accounts, putting each other on your insurance, having joint car insurance, stuff like that?
She was on the car, but she's gonna get off the car. I was on her life insurance, and then we were together. We have the same lease. We were on both the leases for the place we rent,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
in terms of other insurance, I was on her insurance because I was job hunting for a little bit. So I was on her insurance provided through her work, and then what else? I think that would be it. But I also have like yeah. I
Did
think
they
that would be it.
separate you at your interview?
No, they
And
actually approved it on the spot.
so I mean, you've got a lot of things going for you. You were in status. You had a long relationship before you got married, and it sounds like, at least right now, it's not going to be a nasty divorce. And so to me, Sean, the thing that I always explain to people in your situation is, think about a traffic light. Okay, there's a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. So a red light is your wife is going to do everything she can to get you deported, right? A yellow light is she's not going to help, she's not going to hurt, she's just going to stay out of it. And a green light is she's going to help. So when we help people file an I-751, we call these I-751 solos because it's you by yourself. When we do an I-751 solo, we try to see if we can get the U.S. citizen spouse from red to yellow or yellow to green, right? But it sounds like she might already even be green right now.
I mean, we're separating, so like I will be doing it by myself. I won't be doing it like.
No, I know. But do you think when I say green, what I mean by that is, do you think so if you hired us, what we would do is we would sit down with you by yourself and we would find out your whole history. When did you meet? What was your status? How did you fall in love? Why did you decide to get married? Why did you decide to file for a green card? How did you get along? What were fun things you like to do together? Get a whole history from you up until the end of the marriage. And then you would sign that, and we would include that with your 751 solo. And then we would go back to her, if you're willing to let us try, go back to her and say, hey, Mrs. Sean, would you be willing to sign a statement? And it would be a shortened version, a smaller version of what you told us. Like, yeah, we met. Yeah, we fell in love. Yeah, we got married. Yeah, I thought he was a good person. Yeah, I think he should get his green card. It just didn't work out. If we can get her to sign that, then we're in great shape. So that's always the goal with the 751. And we always want to do that sooner rather than later, because I don't think this will happen in your case, but in lots of times when you file a 751 solo, USCIS comes knocking and they say, hey, Mrs. Sean, this guy's still trying to stay. You guys were only married for 6 months. Don't you want to help us kick him out of the country? Oh yeah, that asshole. I hate him. He divorced me. Right. So no, I'm just saying that's sort of how it goes. So if we can get her to green and get her to sign off on something sooner rather than later, then that's a lot better.
Yeah, I think she would be willing to sign. It's just, I think she wouldn't want to deal with like all the other like stuff you have to go through.
Anything else. Yeah, she doesn't have to go to an interview. I mean, other than help you get the documents that she might have that you don't have, other than that, that's it.
She's already sent me all of those.
Good. So I think you're in good shape. Sounds like you have that you're married to a nice person who doesn't want to screw you, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I was extremely lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky.
All right. Well, if you need our help or as things go on, I mean, the key now is just to get the divorce going and to keep the temperature low so that she'll sign off on that. And then you should be in good shape, Sean.
Got it. And is that something I draft or I guess I will hire you and then you will draft that document on saying yes? Okay.
Yeah. And we'll help organize all the evidence. We'll request your old file so that we have the old evidence and the new evidence. For a 751 solo, the important stuff is the evidence after the marriage and after the green card and after you filed the I-130, because that's all stuff they don't have yet.
Got it. And my one last question is, will they come knocking on the door?
Not your door.
Not your door.
No. And probably not hers either. We've had many 751 solos filed where we got the person the 10-year green card without an interview. So you might get it sailed right. If you have enough evidence and we get that statement from her, we might be able to do all this so that you don't even have an interview.
Hey, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks for calling, Sean. We'll see you. Keep us posted.
Thank you,
buddy.
Thank you so much. Yes.
You got it. Bye-bye. All right, that was Sean. Now, everyone's saying hi in the comments. Luis just showed up. What's up, Luis? Happy Sunday to you as well. Good to see you. It's good to see. I see some of my favorite people here. I already mentioned some of them. Jessica's here. Always good to hear from Jessica. And our good friend Fatuma is here. I'll have to talk to you about that case another time, Fatuma. Christina's here. Hi, Christina. And then looks like somebody named Odu was trying to ask me a question. Let me see if I can find it. The question is, I came to USA with an F1 visa, but I told to USA I do not know anyone, but I have my sister here now. But when I applied, she was not in the USA. I want to apply for a marriage-based green card. I want to do my paperwork in my sister's house because I'm my spouse, live with my sister and her spouse. Do I think that you're going to get in trouble for having told them that you didn't have anybody in the United States? I don't think anyone's going to care about that. Yeah, I don't think that's the big deal. I think I'd be much more concerned about proving up the marriage, proving that the relationship was real. But I don't think anyone's going to pick up on that. And, would they not have given you the F1 if they knew your sister was here? Maybe. I could maybe see how it becomes an issue, but I think the chances of it becoming an issue are small. But that's an interesting question. I can't guarantee that it won't be a problem. So that's my answer, Odu. I don't know the answer is my answer. I think that it could come back to bite you, but let's hope not. Sweetie's watching in Boston. Hi, Sweetie. And we got Wanda saying hello. Hello, Wanda. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left. I see some more people in the waiting room. I'm going to go ahead and talk to Roha. Hi, Roha.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good. You're not driving, are you?
No, I'm not.
Awesome. What can I help you with?
So, Jim, I actually had a interview earlier this month, and in the interview process, my officer mentioned that I would hear a decision like in 2 weeks, but it's obviously more than 20 days, and I haven't heard anything yet.
What kind
And
of case?
that was marriage based, U.S. citizen.
And did they separate you and your spouse?
No, they did not, because the
How-
interview went very, very smooth, and it was super well too, because officer was very frank, and she barely asked us a few questions because she took almost an hour and a half, but she was kind of complaining her new system.
The interview was an hour and a half long.
Yes.
And what did they ask you about?
No, because they just ask some yes no question from I-485, and just where did we went on vacation or so on and so forth. But still, there was a couple of moments of silence because the officer was entering everything in her computer, in her system, and she was not sure how to operate her new system, and she was just complaining about that system and so on and so forth.
What was your status, Roha, before you filed for the
Oh,
green card?
yes, she asked me. My status was F1, and she asked me if I left the school, and I didn't. I was not. I was still in my status until I
So that's
received the EAD.
and so neither the I-130 nor the 45 have been approved. They're both still pending.
And the other question. And yeah, second day after interview, I-130 was approved.
So now it's the 45.
And in the yes, and in that process, what she also asked was if I had a filing, asylum application, and I have, and it is still in pending, and it's been pending since 2016, and she also asked me if I knew if that is being filed electronically. She was asking if that asylum application has something called IOE or something like that, and I was not sure if I had that or not, and that's it. And she, in the end, she gave me a letter saying I would hear decision in 2 weeks, and if I did not, and in that letter, it is said that my application is under review or something like that.
But she can't find your asylum case. That's what's happening. She can't find your asylum case. That's why your case is delayed. She wants to look at it before she approves the green card.
So what do you think I could do at this time, Jim?
I think you just got to wait. I'd wait 6 months, and then if you don't have a decision in 6 months, then we can sue them.
Yeah. How about if I can connect to your second officer and just talk about my, kind of inquire about my case?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Sure.
I mean, I know it's kind of difficult, but still, I wanted to give a shot if I can still talk to your second officer.
Try it.
So, Jim, do you think that asylum application can hinder my this I-485 application kind of trouble?
I don't think it's going to hurt. I don't think it's going to hurt your case unless you said something in the asylum application that wasn't true or that's inconsistent with your marriage-based case. But other than that, no, it shouldn't hurt your green card case at all. But it does delay the green card case because the asylum case is pending out there somewhere else, and they don't know what to do with. They don't know where it is. They have a hard time tracking it down, and by the time it shows up, they're already working on next week's cases.
Oh, okay. And officer, particularly mentioned that I would hear the decision in 2 weeks, but I don't know if she's still waiting for the asylum.
That's BS. No one ever can predict when you're going to find out. That I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, and other question, Jim. If I wanted to, I don't know if you recommend me to travel internationally, not the country where I'm from, but I wanted to go somewhere else. is it advisable for me to travel or?
You have advanced parole?
Yes.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Okay. Um, okay. Yeah, I'll just wait for a couple more a month. If I, have not heard from USCIS, maybe I will go with the legal process. That I will contact you, Jim.
Sounds good, Roha. Keep us posted. See you, buddy.
Sure. Thanks.
All right. Let's say hi to Christina. Hi, Christina. You're on mute. There you are. How
Good
you doing?
afternoon, Mr. Jim. Good, Mr. Jim. I have one question. My mom goes every 6 months to Peru because she goes to see the doctor over there because she's a resident alien here in North Carolina and she has her medicals in here and she has Medicaid and Medicaid or Medicare and but she goes every year, every 6 months over there. She stay there 6 months in Peru. My question is, how long can she stay over there in Peru? Because she's only go there just to see the doctors.
So
Because
she
in
can.
here it's so really expensive.
Does she want to apply for citizenship, or she just want to keep her green card?
No, just keep her green card. And she's
So
60. Oh, my mom's 65, I think she is.
I would say no trips more than 6 months, unless she can get something called a reentry permit that lets her stay out for 2 years if she gets a reentry permit. But she has to do that here in the United States.
Oh, wow. So it's only allowed to stay there for 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, if she starts saying more than 6 months, they might give her trouble when she comes back. Technically, she can be out for under a year, but that 6 month to a year thing causes people trouble. So I vote for under 6 months.
Yeah, because she goes every 6 months over there in Peru.
Yeah, that's okay. As
But
long as
then
she
she,
comes back. She just can't be outside the United States for more than 6 months. She can go for 6 months to Peru, come back for a month, go to Peru for 6 months, come back for a month. That's okay.
oh, okay. So what was the other one you were saying that she can get what in here in USA?
Re-entry permit. Re-entry
Enter.
permit.
And do I need for a lawyer or can I just re-enter?
It's called I-131.
Hold on. I want
131.
131. Okay.
But she has to be here. She has to be here. Next time she comes back, file it right when she lands because she has to
Mm-hmm.
get fingerprinted too. So do that next time she comes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye, Christina. See ya. All right. Let's say hi to Ashik. Hi, Ashik.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. So I have a question, if you don't mind. That
Yeah.
I filed I-130 and I-130A on in May for my wife, and the thing is that I submitted on 23rd May. They got it on 23rd May for my wife, and when the receipt letter comes up, it's a receipt letter from another is from one is Fort Mac Service Center to create an account, and another one from the Texas Service Center. So the thing is, I have to ask that, and my case starts with IOE. That's what I saw in the internet, that the IOE cases start. That is, I think it's a USCIS electronic system. I think, right?
Yep. Right.
Yes. It those process goes fast.
No, nothing goes fast, Ashik. Nothing goes fast.
Okay, and also the thing is that in the Texas Service Center, like it's my case is on the Texas Service Center, and how long it will take? And I'm U.S. citizen.
Probably about a year and 2 months or so, somewhere like that.
Because many people say that it will take like a 6 month for the 6 months to get the approval.
I don't think so. I haven't been seeing many I-130s get approved in 6 months. It's closer to a year.
Oh, it's the closest to the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and I also like I'm married in 26 month 2022. So what is there any kind of trouble will happen? It's not like a year. So that's what I'm asking.
No, that's okay.
Oh, that's okay, right? So
Mhm.
so I have to wait, like, and also like in the USCIS. So the service centers, do they like change their status of the processing time every 1 month or 2 months?
Every month, but I wouldn't spend any time paying attention to that. Just let it go and just know that they'll let you know when it's approved. I would not worry about it. I wouldn't worry about which service center it's at. I wouldn't worry about the processing times at which service center. All that matters is when your case gets approved. Some cases get approved quickly, some get slowly, but it's not just because of the service center. So I just would let it go and wait for it.
Yeah, the, yeah, that's what I saw in so many cases, that in like there is some of the people like applied in 2021 and get approved after like on 2022, and some people applied on 2022 on May and get approved in like in a 3 months, 4 months. That's what I saw, so in so many cases. So are they like working randomly kind of?
I think so.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
every case is different, and you just never know what's going to happen.
What's gonna happen? Okay, all right. I just wanted to know. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks, Ashik. You got it, bud. All right, let's say hi to Channel. Hi, Channel.
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon.
What's
Can you
up?
hear me?
I got you.
Yeah. Thank you for the good work you're doing.
Sure.
I have a quick question for you. My husband and I, we filed for my kids. They went for interview March ending this year, 2022, until
Where was the
now.
interview?
In Texas.
Where? In Dallas?
Arlington is Ivan, Texas.
Okay. And are you the
Yeah.
U.S. citizen or are you the foreign national?
My husband is a U.S. citizen. I'm a green card holder. I have the 2 years conditional green card.
So you had an interview on a 751 or an interview on.
No. For my kids, my 2 kids.
Where are your kids inside the United States?
Yeah, correct. They are here in United States.
So who applied for your kids, you or your husband?
My husband.
And tell me what happened at the interview.
Yeah, the interview went well. The only thing they asked for their social security, which we did not go with. That was the only question they asked. And then they asked my daughter who.
It was a quick interview?
Yeah, it was quick.
How old are your kids?
As at then, one was 15, the other one was 17.
Okay, and so you said they asked your daughter. What did they ask your daughter?
If she was a member of any club. She said she was in the drama or the theater act in school.
Yeah.
And that was all. And the interviewer said they're going to get back to us. If there's anything, they will let us know. Until now, the only thing they said, interview is completed and case must be reviewed. And it's been a while. We haven't had nothing.
So how did your daughters enter the United States?
They came with a B1, B2 visa.
And when did you file for the green card after they entered?
We filed when I filed, but their case had issue because we tried to do it ourselves and it was returned. So we went further with my case and mine was approved. It was much later that we have to like put in for them again, and it went through.
Okay, so you and your daughters entered the United States together.
Correct.
And then when you entered the United States, were you married to their stepfather, or were you get married later?
No. I wasn't, because I'm a widow. When I came, I was a widow. I wasn't married at all.
Got it. Okay. And so did you get married on the first 6 months of that visit visa?
No, after 6 months.
So but you got approved for your green card. So you filed an I-130 for you and for each of the daughters.
Yeah,
but
my daughter and my son
got screwed up and got rejected. Why did they get rejected?
No, my husband and I tried to do it ourselves, and the form wasn't properly filled, so it was returned. I think they said the payment wasn't correct or something, so we just decided to.
Yours kept going.
Yeah, mine went on, but
So
theirs wasn't, because we filled a single form for all of us.
Did you apply for the girls before you got your green card, or after when you reapplied for your girls? Did you do it after you got your green card or before?
Yeah, after I got my green card.
Okay, so then when they applied, they were out of status.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. How much time between when you filed again for your daughters and this interview you had back in March?
It took up to I think a year.
A year. Okay.
A year
And
and a half, yeah, correct.
did the officer say anything about them being out of status or about them coming with you and getting married or anything?
No, she didn't.
Okay. And okay. So March, April, May, June. So it's been like 90 days since the interview. That's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Have the girls left since you
No,
entered with them? No.
no,
Hmm. And the officer didn't give you any indication what she wanted to do, what they were going to do with the case?
no. The only thing she asked, she said they were going to review the case. Then that the only thing that they are going to look out was the club, the theater arts that my daughter said she was part of. That they are going to check it out and.
That's nothing. Well, that's weird. I would say wait a couple more months. If nothing happens, then you might need to sue them. They probably just forgot to keep working on your daughter's cases. Have you tried bugging them? Have you called them and made info pass and all that stuff?
No.
Yeah, I'd start calling them this week and just see what in the hell's going on. But if you don't have a decision in a month or two, let me know and we can sue them and get a decision.
Okay, thank you so much. Then another question. I have my 2 years green card, the I-751. I have filed. I have the 24-month extension. Can I travel with it? I want to go to Canada for like a week and come back. Can I travel with it?
Do you have a valid passport?
Yeah, I have a valid passport.
You're good.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Don't take those girls though with you, okay?
No. I'm going by myself.
Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. God bless you and your family.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Well, on that happy note, blessings for me and my family, we will go ahead and wrap for today's show. Like I mentioned, there will be no show tomorrow, but you should seriously consider sending a text, the word show, to 314-470-3300. I don't know what time we're going to do Tuesday's show yet. It's going to depend on the Norinators softball games, but we'll do it probably later in the day, if not early evening on Tuesday. But I will let you know, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great start to your week, everybody. Peace.